Well, welcome everyone who has joined so far and everyone who's watching this back after. I'm super excited to be here and that you signed up for this workshop. I actually got quite a lot of sign-ups, which I'm really excited about. I'm so excited that people want to learn about this. So this will go on for about an hour. Don't really want it to go longer than an hour because I know you guys are busy, I'm busy, so we'll keep it at that. If you have questions, there will be time for Q&A at the end. I will cap it at 60 minutes. So just, yeah, see how many questions we can get in within that time frame. Other than that, the bonuses and all the extra stuff that I will share with you will also be shared at the end. So make sure that you stay. I promise you, it will 100% be worth it. So, who am I? Well, my name is Ellen. I am the founder of the Empowered Woman program. I am qualified in CBT, NLP, and acceptance and commitment therapy, which some of you probably haven't heard of. I have coached since 2018, and I also do a lot of nervous system work, so somatic practices, not just not just talk therapy, which is why I think that the Empowered Woman is so successful because we don't just focus on talking about your problems, we actually focus on how we can overcome them. I have a podcast called the Unfiltered Empowered Woman podcast. So if you enjoy this, make sure you go subscribe to that. We release an episode every Thursday. I also do a lot of education and workshops for both other coaches and also companies like Women's Fitness Academy, Women's Fitness Education, Lidology, to name a few. So I'm really excited to be here today, and I hope that you enjoy this workshop. So what we'll cover today is, first of all, we're going to talk about my own personal story with binge eating. And the reason for this isn't because I want to spend, this time talking about myself, but I want you to see that other people are struggling too. And I know when you struggle with binge eating, it feels like you're the only person who struggles. And you might look at someone like myself, like, oh, she has the freedom to travel anywhere. She just eats out. She trains whenever she wants. Like, she's never had a problem with food. I actually struggled with food for over 10 years. Like, that was a long time in my life where I struggled with disordered eating, binge eating, anorexia. And I want to show you that it is possible to get to a point where I am now. We're going to talk about myth busting and red flags. We're going to talk about why you struggle with binge eating. I assume that you joined because you're probably someone who works really hard in the gym, who is on point, Monday to Friday, but then you get to the weekend and you just go, fuck it. And, you throw it all away. We're going to talk about the most common mistakes when trying to break binge eating and what actually works. How to stop binging and actually get the results from all your hard work. Because it is frustrating as hell to put in all this work throughout the week and then to ruin it every single weekend. Trust me, I've been there. So I kept binging for 10 plus years because I kept saying things like, it's not that bad, I can do it myself. I'm not bad enough to get help. I'll start again on Monday. I'll start again when I've lost this weight. I just need to get to 60 kilos. Like 60 kilos was like my magic number for some reason. And when I get there, then I'll start recovering from binge eating. Or I can't afford it now. I had all the excuses and I didn't do any of the work. I was binge eating and trying to track my food, trying with macros. I was trying vegan diets and paleo and low carbs and like everything, but nothing ever worked long term because every weekend I would just revert back to binging. This is me now, where I've stopped binge eating, regulated my nervous system, and I learned to eat with intention. But like I said before, it wasn't always like that. My journey started when I was about 14 years old, and I'm not going to go into my anorexia journey so much because this workshop is about binge eating, but it's still relevant to you for you to understand this. Because what I see so much is people struggle with something like might not be as intense as anorexia, but it can also be, intense dieting for a long period of time. And then fall back into binge eating. So for me, I developed anorexia during my teen years because I just wanted to fit in. I just wanted to lose a bit of weight. I wanted to feel like I was good enough. People would always compliment me saying that, oh, I wish I had your willpower. I wish I had your dedication. And, I wish I could work as hard as you. And that became like my identity. Like I thought that I was the hardest worker in the room. And I wore that as a badge of honor. Like I was going to be the skinniest. I was going to be the one who dieted the best. But when I started recovering from my anorexia, because I never found anyone like a psychologist that I felt I could connect with. Like they were just like, we just eat. Like obviously you need to eat. You need to eat food. It's not good to not eat. And I was like, I know. If it was that easy, I wouldn't still be here. So I never actually got the professional help that I needed. So when I started eating again, it was kind of like someone just flicked the switch, and all of a sudden I could no longer stick to diets. I like all of that willpower and dedication that I wore as a badge of honor in my anorexia. It was like I lost that part of myself, and now I was just binging every single weekend, or sometimes even during the week when I was at its peak. I would stick to a diet for a couple of days or a week, sometimes 2 weeks. And then I would have one little thing go wrong and I would just go, ah, screw it. I failed. I'm just going to keep binging anyway. This just went on and on and on, and it got worse and worse and worse every single time it happened. Some weeks I would have better weeks and I would think that I was cured. But then other weeks I would be binging every second day. I was working at a cafe at the time, and I remember if I ever closed the cafe, I would literally get the croissants and the pastries and everything out that was meant to be thrown out. Like if there was leftovers, I couldn't help myself from eating them. Like at one point, I literally put the croissants in the bin and then took them out and went to the bathroom and ate them because I couldn't stop myself. Like I was like, what is wrong with me? What is this like monster that's taken over my body and that's making me eat things out of the trash? I was lying to every single person. I was lying to my partner at the time about where the food had gone. I was lying about, whose wrappers was in the trash. I would cancel plans with my friends because I would rather stay home and binge. It was controlling my whole life. I would go to McDonald's and I would buy loads of food, and then I would go to a street in the middle of nowhere and eat it all and throw it in some random person's bin just because I didn't want anyone to know. And I think the lying was probably one of the worst things for me because I was really good at restricting between my binges. I never really felt like, I could ask for help because I was like, well, I'm not overweight. Like I was still in a healthy weight, but I just felt like I was working so hard in the gym and it didn't reflect on my body. And I remember it used to frustrate the hell out of me when I'd see people, at my workplace before I had this job, come in and they would do like one of those like F45 8-week challenges and they would drop their weight like that. And here was me who was known as the gym girl, but I was still bigger than all of them. And I was like, how? Like, why is it like this? Why am I the person who's stuck like this? Why is it that they lose this weight so easily, but I keep binging? Like, what is wrong with me? And like every Monday, I'd wake up with a food hangover. Every Monday, I'd wake up saying, this week will be different. This week, I will do it, in a different way. And no week was ever different until I started doing the inner work. Until I started regulating my nervous system, understanding the actual reasons why I was binging, what was hiding behind that binge eater identity, how I felt like I wasn't good enough, and the perfectionist mindset, all or nothing mindset, how I felt like I always had to be the hardest worker in the room to be good enough, all of these things and the pressure to put on me. My inability to self-soothe, how I didn't know how to handle my emotions as they came up. I would just shut down and binge instead. And it wasn't until then that I realized the actual reasons of my binging. And it wasn't until then I started healing. So now I've been binge free since I honestly don't remember last time I binged, but it would have been 2017, 2018. And I haven't binged since. Like, I feel like I'm in the best shape of my life. I've just traveled Europe for 3 months, haven't put on any weight. And I honestly just feel so happy and so confident and so at peace with food and my body. And this is what I want for you guys too. So I'm really excited that I get to host this workshop for you. And please make sure that you do stay till the end because there's going to be so many golden nuggets in there that I don't want you to miss. So now that I shared my weirdest thing, taking croissants out of the bin and eating them. I'd love to know yours. Put it in the group chat. I'd love to know what it is, like if you've ever binged on something like that. And there's no shame here. Please know that. There's no, if you've eaten things covered in the bin, if you've eaten other people's food, if you've eaten your kids, like I used to work in a disability home, and sometimes I used to eat the kids' food and then have to go out and buy more because I just eaten theirs. Finishing my partner's leftovers when I got to scrape them in the bin. Yeah, like these are things that we do because binge eating is an addiction. It's not something that we should just say, oh, it's just like I just eat too much. Like, no, it's an addiction. It needs to be treated like one too. Anyone else want to comment in the group chat? I would love to know. And please know, like I said, there's no shame here, but opening up and sharing is actually the first step to healing. So just telling other people and for other people to see that, damn, I'm not alone, is actually so powerful. Stood in the kitchen eating anything that I could open without making noise. Yeah, I literally used to stand in front of the freezer eating ice cream with a fork, with the freezer door open, and eating with a fork just so I wouldn't eat as much. But obviously, I'd finish the whole thing anyway. I have to finish whatever is on my plate, even if I'm full and I don't like the food. Yeah, so normal. Like so many people that struggle with binge eating have that same mentality. It's so normal. Going for a walk on a holiday and then stopping every second 7-Eleven to get a snack at each one. Yeah, I've done that too. Or said that I'm gonna go for a run and I'm run to the donut shop. Eating my children's food and talk them into giving me their food. Yeah, so normal. So many of my clients, obviously I don't have kids, but so many of my clients say that they will eat their kids' lunches and then they're like, oh no, now we have to buy more food on the way to school. These are completely normal things, and I know that they don't feel normal, but trust me, they are. And we are going to break it. So before we get into all the tools, I want to present some clients that I have just so that you can see that you can actually get there. So this is my client Imge. She's actually from South Africa, but she lives in the UK. And I remember on our first intro call, she went on and she was like, Ellen, this is my last hope. Like, I don't think that I can break this because I feel like I've tried it all. But whatever, like, let's give it a go. It's just money at the end of the day. Like, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And she literally stopped binging within 4 weeks of us working together. Like, this is how quickly you can turn things around once you've identified your core triggers and beliefs, once you have the right strategy. So the stuff that I'm going to present to you guys today, once you realize that there's actually nothing wrong with you, you've just tried the wrong programs. This is another client of mine named Cassie. And Cassie was someone who started binge eating after doing a bodybuilding show. She tried to do it herself because she's actually a coach. And, a lot of coaches I work with have a lot of imposter syndrome, that I'm telling my clients that they should be eating these things. And I myself can't even stick to a diet. So, of course, it's hard to reach out for help as a coach because, like, I should know this. You know what protein is, what carbs are, what you should be eating, but you can't stick to it. And this is why binge eating is not actually about the food or the diet, because I'm sure that all of you guys know broccoli, healthy, very healthy. Chocolate, not so healthy. We know that what we should be eating, but we're just not doing it. And that's not because you don't know. That's because you don't have the right strategy. So she was someone who stopped binge eating within 6 weeks, and you might look at this and like, the hell, that sounds like way too quick. Like, these results are insane, but this is what can happen when you try the right strategy. And I always say to people, if you don't have a return of investment within 4 weeks, no matter if that is, a loan or working with a coach or doing a new education or whatever it is, like if you don't feel like you have gotten some kind of results after 4 weeks, then you need to try a new strategy, or you and your coach need to sit down and look at what is going on because you have not made any progress. That should be unacceptable. Cassie has now dropped the binge weight and she's now maintaining her new lower body weight and is actually prepping for another show. Like, how amazing is that? So let's start with some myth busting here because we all love a bit of myth busting. I wish I had that. Oh no, that's Blockbusters. Never mind. But one of the biggest myths are, that you're the hardest worker in the gym and you smash your goals, you train 5, 6 a week, and you never miss a session. And that you feel like you should then be able to stick to your diet as well. You should always, like, you have so much willpower in the gym, so you should have all this willpower and dedication and motivation with your food. Wrong. This is so wrong because binge eating has nothing to do with willpower. If it was as easy as saying, I'm just gonna willpower my way out of not eating, we would all be cured. Like, you would not be here. You would have been able to willpower yourself out of it because I can guarantee you that you've done really hard things in the past that you have had a plan for. For example, getting your license. You didn't just jump in the car hoping that you would learn how to drive. You had someone teach you how to drive. And it was probably hard, but because you had the right person to teach you, you were able to learn how to drive. Same thing with binge eating. You're just focusing on the wrong things. A lot of people think that or feel like they don't want to disappoint their coach. And you feel like your coach will get disappointed if you tell him or her the truth, and you say nothing and you just ghost them. This is also wrong and something that we need to break because your coach shouldn't ever feel disappointed in you if you're still trying. If your coach is making you feel guilty or like you've disappointed them or that you've done something wrong and you should be ashamed of yourself, guys, get the new coach. There's so many coaches out there. You do not have to put up with that crap. The last myth that I wanted to bust is that you think that you need to give up on your body goals and believe that letting go of only focusing on your deficit will make you gain weight. This is like saying that you getting help with your savings means that you're going to lose more money. Like, obviously, if you stop binge eating, you're going to remove an excess calorie, like 10, 15,000 extra calories every week. Of course, you're going to then lose the weight because you're no longer eating as much. And if you've been trying this like 1,700 calorie diet for however many weeks, and you're still binging every weekend, you're not actually on a 1,600 calorie diet. You're probably on like a 2,000, 3,000 calorie diet. That's why you're not losing weight. So what we actually need to do is we need to stop binging, and that's going to help you drop the weight. Does anyone have any bullshit advice that you've been giving in the past about binge eating? Like, have you ever heard, like, just have more willpower, just try harder? Um, a controversial one that I hear all the time is journal. And like, I don't know about you, but when I wanted to binge, the last thing I wanted to do was sit down and freaking journal. Like, there's no way that I was gonna get my journal out and write. Like, I just wanted to eat. So I'd love to know if anyone's heard any advice that you like that obviously does not work. Don't buy the food, journal, wait 5 minutes. You just need to lock in. Yeah. Have more willpower. I've heard brush your teeth. I've heard eat an apple or carrots or something. It's like, I want to binge on that tub of Nutella. Having an apple is not going to fix this urge. Yeah, awesome. These results that I just shared with you, they're not random. These are the kind of results you get when you work with the right person. So let's look at some red flags. I'm just going to move that over there. Because binging starts way before you're using your hands, eating Ben and Jerry's from the garbage bin, and you already consumed over 10,000 calories. It starts with the small things. And this is why I really am trying to preach that, pick it up when you see the red flags, because it's so much easier to help someone when it's just for red flags versus when you are in that 10,000 calorie binge, literally sitting in the bin eating your food. So one of the first red flags that I would look at for is lying about what you eat to your coach, to your family, saying to your partner that, oh no, I didn't eat that last chocolate. Like, I have no idea where it went. Or telling your coach that, no, like I ate really good this weekend, but I just forgot to log it on MyFitnessPal, stuff like that. And not feeling comfortable eating certain things in front of other people. So a very common thing that I hear with my clients, and I myself struggled with this too, was, if I was gonna go to an Italian restaurant, for example, sometimes I would think like, oh, I'm gonna eat the pasta. But then everyone else would have the salad. So I'd be like, oh no, I need to eat the salad too now. Like I can't eat pasta because everyone's gonna think I'm fat. So, that might feel like that's a normal thing. That's not a normal thing. This is just diet culture that has made us think that this is normal. Saying you'll stick to something only to break it again and again and again. You say one thing, but you keep breaking it. What this does is breaking your trust in yourself. This is like, imagine if you had a friend who's like, oh, I'll meet you at the coffee shop at 10:30 tonight. And then they didn't show. And then next week, same thing. And next week, same thing. You wouldn't trust that person because if someone always does the opposite of what they say, how are you meant to trust them? And the same thing goes for yourself. That 5+ kilos weight fluctuations and either being on or off. So, if you're someone who is, well, for lack of a better word, a yo-yo dieter who is constantly just jumping from diet to diet, you're really good when you're on the Lauren Simpson challenge or F45 challenge or whatever it is, you lose all the weight. And then as soon as the challenge finishes, boom, the weight comes back on, probably often more than usually or more than before. And then you go on another challenge and you lose the weight and then you gain the weight. I see this as well with Ozempic and Mounjaro. People go on it, lose all the weight, stay good for like 6 months after coming off it, and then the food noise comes back, the weight comes back, and then they usually come to see me and they're like, I should have gone to you before I started using the shot. And if you want to use the shot, that's fine, but work on your mindset as well. Sneaking food into the car or your room and hiding your wrappers in the trash. Like, red flag. That feeling of like, I need to hide my behavior. I'm doing something wrong. Like knowing in your heart that this is not good. I need to hide it. Feeling guilty when you eat something off plan and then training harder to burn it off. So, what happens if you followed your meal plan and then you have a chocolate bar or a cupcake or whatever, or, Susan from HR comes in, it's her birthday and you have one slice of her cake. What happens then? Do you feel really guilty and throw away the whole day? Do you add in 3 hours of extra cardio? Do you restrict the next day so to make up for it? Again, this is something that diet culture has taught us to be normal. Like there's so many coaches that I see calorie bank and save your calories and this and that. And yeah, in practice, it works, right? If you just look at the number, that's like saying, don't spend any money during the week and spend more on the weekend. Yeah, it works. But humans are not numbers. Like we have all the emotional connection as well. Plus, we also have the physiological things that happen in our bodies. Like when we're not eating, we are going to be more fruit focused. We are going to look for more food. It's not as easy as just don't eat. Feels that easy? God, we would have no problems with food. So let's look at the binge eating cycle. So we all experience life with triggers. If you don't know what a trigger is, triggers are, for example, stepping on the scales in the morning and you haven't lost weight that day. What is your first thought that comes up when this happens? Or if you see someone online and they're really shredded, or your friend comes into work and she's lost a bunch of weight, what is the thought that comes into your mind then? One of the most common core beliefs that we have is I'm not good enough. When we think that we're not good enough, we are going to create a fear of, I'll never be good enough. I'm going to be alone forever, or I'm going to be stuck here forever. No one's ever going to want me. I'm always going to be ugly and disgusting. And, we go into that catastrophizing, worst case scenario. Because we haven't learned either how to redirect this thought and also know how to sit with that fear, the guilt, the shame, how scary it is to sit there. We take action because we want to run away from this. And we eat because that feels safe. And yeah, it works, right? It temporarily makes you feel better. But what actually happens is that you just confirm for yourself that you're not good enough. You just confirm the thought that you had before, that I am not good enough because I just ate that whole piece of cake. Then we are consumed with this guilt of why can I never do anything right? What's wrong with me? Why do I keep doing this? And then we get anxiety. Anxiety is that future fear, what will happen in the future and how can I fix this? How can I control it? So we try to compensate by, restricting or by adding in more training or coming up with a new plan or signing up to a new diet. And then we restrict and we think, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna restrict and do this until I'm done hating myself, until I'm done feeling disgusting, until I'm no longer a pig. But we haven't actually changed anything because we haven't worked out where the core belief of I'm not good enough comes from. We haven't looked at how to sit with the fear, and we haven't looked at a different action that will actually help us in that moment. So this is how people stay stuck in the binge eating cycle. It's never actually just about the food. And the reason people stay stuck is because they think they need more restrictions. But what you actually need to do is you need to do the inner work. Like I said in my story, I was queen of restricting myself. Like when I had anorexia, I would literally eat 200 calories a day sometimes, like absolutely insane. Would not recommend that to anyone, and it's awful. And if you struggle with anorexia, please, please, please get help. That's what I'm going to say. Anyways, your limiting beliefs are a massive driver for your behavior because our behavior is constantly just confirming the beliefs that we have about ourselves. These beliefs aren't just, no babies who are born thinking they're not enough or they're ugly or they're fat or whatever you're thinking. These are beliefs that that you think because of your childhood. Maybe your mom used to complain about her body. Maybe your dad would say comments to you about your like chubby legs or something like that. Maybe it was someone in school. Maybe you're the girl that you looked up to was always dieting. Maybe you would always read magazines about how skinny people are much better and more successful than other people. Failed diets. How many of us haven't failed a diet before? I definitely have. And every time we fail them and we gain the weight back, we're just confirming for ourselves that we are not good enough, that we are failures. We get stuck in that all or nothing mindset. We get stuck in that mindset that I need to be perfect to be good enough. I need to fix this. I need to, be all or nothing. And a lot of us, like I definitely used to wear that as a badge of honor. I was like, I'm always all or nothing. I'm the hardest worker in the room. Like, you're going to love me as a client because I'm going to kill it. But what that actually meant was that if anything went wrong, I was like, I failed. I can't do it. And just go completely other way. So this is like, if you're driving to the gym and you get one wrong turn, are you then going to go all the way back and start again? Like you're never going to get anywhere. But for some reason, we think that the all or nothing mindset is like a good thing for us. The part of you that is binging, the part of you that is in this self-sabotaging behavior, this part of you is actually trying to save you. It's not actually a bad part, even though you might hate that part of yourself. This part of you, it was actually created because you didn't know how to sit with that pain. The pain here of I'm not good enough, or the fear of I'm never going to change. Because you didn't know how to sit with that, you had to develop some kind of distraction. And food, it's very easy to access. It's always at home. And it gives us a lot of dopamine. It makes us feel good in the moment. So all of these things are great. Yes, we need to understand the why. We need to understand, when it's happening, what's triggering in us. But we also need to understand what's happening in our bodies. And this is why talk therapy alone is not enough. There's so many clients that I have that come from like psychologists and therapists where they've talked about their problem for 3 years, never actually changed anything. You need to also work with your body because otherwise your body will be like, nope, doesn't feel safe. We're going to go back to doing what we've always done. Your state, so the state of your body, will decide the story in your mind. Because if your body is in a fight or flight state, for example, your mind will create stories about why you need to be stuck there. So in a fight state, you might feel angry and reactive and you want to confront the threat head on. And you might have thoughts like, oh, like, why does it keep happening? Like, oh my God, it's everyone else's fault. And like, why did my partner bring home cupcakes today? And like, I told him that he needs to support me in my goals. In the flight state, you might feel really anxious and you might want to escape the situation. And the thoughts there might be, I need to run away from this. I can't deal with this right now. I'm just going to go this way. I'm just going to go and eat. I'm just going to like distract myself and avoid it. Go away. Like, nope, I'm running away from this. I'm just not avoiding. I'm avoiding this. In the freeze state, where we feel stuck, this is where we feel overwhelmed. It's like, I have so many things to do, but I just cannot get anything done. So it's kind of like that. I have to, but I can't. I have to, but I can't. I don't know if you've ever had like a million things to do and you're like, I don't even know where to start. So you go and clean the kitchen instead. That's the freeze state. And this is also where a lot of people binge, where, you're like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed, I don't know what to do right now, so I'm just gonna reach for food. In a phone state where it's a complete shutdown state, you're gonna people please, you're gonna disassociate, and you're gonna try and keep the peace by to stay safe. This is where our bodies completely numb out, and where we feel like, what's the point of trying? I fail every time anyway, and I'm never gonna succeed. So by understanding the states and how to regulate from the different states, you're gonna be able to change the story in your mind. If willpower was the answer, don't you think that you would be healed by now? Why I have a picture here of the Titanic is because, the Titanic was this huge boat that they said was unsinkable. And they went straight through this iceberg and they were like, oh, it's small, like we can go straight through it, no problem, like we're a huge boat. But what the problem was that they didn't look at beneath the surface. And that's why they sunk, because it scraped the whole bottom of the boat and the whole boat sank. So many people died because they only looked at what was on top of the surface, what you could see. So this is what you're doing right now. You're looking at your food, you're looking at your willpower, you're looking at these things that feel safe, that we talk about, that people know about. But don't you think that you would be healed by now if that was enough? At the end of the day, we don't know what we don't know. And the reason you're stuck isn't because you don't have enough willpower, it's because you're not looking at what's beneath the surface. The actual reasons why you turn to food. So here's what you need to do. And feel free to take a photo of this if you want. But you need a step-by-step guide to understand, first of all, how do we dismiss the urge to binge? What can we do to not act on that autopilot, the binge eating monster, a lot of my clients call it? How do we not act on it and move forward? What else can we do in that moment? What would actually help us here? What is the actual reasons why we're binging? What is going on beneath the surface? And how do we let go of that guilt post-binge? Because as you saw in the cycle, that guilt is actually keeping you stuck. It's just reinforcing the cycle again and again and again. We need to do the inner work. You need to identify what limiting beliefs that you have. Where did they come from? Who put them there? Did your dad always compliment you for being such a good girl? And maybe your mom was always like, oh, you're so happy, you're so easygoing, and like, I never have to worry about you. But then maybe you started creating a story that, oh, well, if I want people to love me and accept me, I need to always be happy. I need to always be looking after everyone else. I need to always be hardworking. But what happens when you're not hardworking? What happens when you're not looking after people? What happens when you're not happy? That's when you binge. You need to heal and you need to reparent your inner child. You need to change your subconscious belief and rebuild that trust in yourself and love for yourself. And love might feel like really far away right now, but it starts with the acceptance piece. Start with acceptance and then we can move towards love. You also need to understand the nervous system. Where do you get stuck? Because we all tend to have different states where we get more stuck than others. I'm, for example, a fighter. If I get triggered, I'm like, let's go. And that's something I'm working on. We all have things that we work on all the time. That's okay. The key is understanding ourselves so we can learn how to self-soothe and regulate from these states, come back to regulation where we can respond instead of just react and binge. So what happens if we don't do these things? What happens if you keep doing what you've been doing now for the rest of your life? You'll keep working hard in the gym, but you'll still binge on the weekends or at night. You'll make yourself feel better by saying, I'll start again on Monday. But deep down, you know that you feel like the biggest imposter and that things are probably not going to change. Every time you're bored, lonely, comparing yourself to other women on Instagram, you'll start telling yourself that I'm not good enough story, and you'll binge to distract yourself from actual feeling that you're not good enough. You'll skip meals, you'll add in extra cardio, you'll try and make up for what you've eaten, but it will never be enough because you can't out-train a bad diet. But if you do focus on these things and you do the work to heal this relationship to yourself, you'll finally feel like a gym girl. That gym girl that you say that you are. You can post the photos at the gym. You can tell people that you go to the gym. Other people will compliment you and say, wow, like you've been working really hard. I can see that because you can finally stick to the program. Whenever you feel emotional, you'll know how to self-soothe. You know how to regulate. You know what to do and how to actually help yourself release what you're feeling and then come back to your body. You'll feel empowered and in control because you are now in control of your life and food is no longer in control of you. You no longer feel stressed around food, holidays, or going out for dinner because you know that you won't overeat or binge. Like you can see your body changing every week and like eating healthy just feels easy. That's what I want for you guys. And that's what I really, really believe that everyone deserves. So if we look at the binge eating cycle again, then, well, when we change the action to confirm that to eating, we can change it to trying something new. And I know it's scary, but isn't it scarier to be stuck in the same pattern for the rest of your life? Because when you try to take action, you can be binge free in 8 weeks. So if you're sitting here thinking, this sounds exactly like me, and you're tired of trying to fix it alone, and you're feeling disappointed every time you fail, here's how we're going to fix it together. You know, these girls, they thought that they'd never be able to stop binging. Miranda was actually on my podcast yesterday. That episode came out today, and she was someone who started binging after comp, and then she came to me. We fixed it. She literally stopped after one call. Now, I'm gonna say that's not normal, or that's not something that happens to everyone. That was very wow. But she stopped after one call because that's like so much can happen in one call. It's insane. Like the amount of stuff that we shift, life changing. She has now done another comp prep diet and not binged. And these women, like they come to me, they feel like they've tried it all, but they hadn't tried the Empowered Woman. The Empowered Woman is for women who are ready to stop binge eating and finally start seeing results from all your hard work in the gym. This program will take you from feeling lost and out of control around food and your life to actually feel empowered, confident, and get the results you deserve from all your hard work. This unique 12-week method has been trialed by thousands of women. Like I've been coaching since 2018, and it's a blend of one-on-one group coaching and educational modules. This is completely unique. There's no other binge eating program out there where you work one-on-one with a coach the whole 12 weeks. Most of them are group programs, or you have a ghost coach, like a VA who is just pretending to be your coach. But this is working with me one-on-one. So the method that I use is the first 4 weeks, we do something called the Binge Breaker Blueprint. The first 4 weeks are all about quick wins and breaking binge eating because I want to build momentum. Like I'm human as well. I want to see results quickly. And if you don't see results, you're going to probably not want to do it. So the first 4 weeks, we're going to have weekly calls to make sure that you stop binge eating as quickly as we can. You know, that you have all the tools, that you feel so supported, that I'm literally holding you, leading you through this and believing in you until you start believing in yourself. The accountability and support that you get here are going to help you stop binge eating. In the next 4 to 8 weeks, binge eating will be gone and we can dive deeper into your inner world. You know, this is where we can look at what is actually what spiked binge eating. You know, where is this all or nothing mindset coming from? Where's the perfectionist mindset coming from? Why do you feel anxious? When do you feel anxious? You know, these limiting beliefs, who put them there? And how can we start rewiring your nervous system and your subconscious mind to create a more empowered life and attract all the amazing things that you actually want for yourself? The last 8 to 12 weeks are all about understanding both your inner world, both your nervous system, but also understanding how you can actually eat in a way that you can actually change your body without tracking. You know, if you want to track, that's fine, but I want to give you tools to show you that you don't actually have to track your food to stay lean or to change your body even. Eating feels easy and your body is just going to be a reflection of your new habits. And you might be thinking like, Ella, I'm going to fail. You will not fail this. Like, for as long as I've done this, I have not had anyone go through the 12 weeks and not fail. And I know that sounds like too good to be true, but it is true. And if that happens, I would change this. But I always do so like 110% for every client to make sure that you do not fail because I don't want you to fail. I want you to have the freedom that I have. 87% of my clients stop binge eating by week 6. 10% stop at week 8, and sometimes people stop at week 10 to 12, but not often. I'm so sorry for the change in background and me, but I've just had to make a few changes to the program since I uploaded this recording, so that's why everything looks a little bit different, so bear with me here. But my point of this is that you will not do this alone. I will be there to support you every single step of the way, not a ghost coach, not an AI writer, not another coach, not anyone else. Like, not a support person or anything. I will be there every single step of the way. This is why this is a premium one-on-one support program, and also why we get premium results. Like, there's a reason why people come to me once they've completed all these other programs and courses and worked with other counselors and therapists, because they don't get enough support. And it's so, so important to have one-on-one support and also to use the specific methods that I teach to be able to stop binging. If you could stop binging on your own, if you could stop with just a course or Instagram post or podcast or even a group program, you probably would have you would have stopped by now. You wouldn't still be here watching this workshop. So you'll have premium one-on-one support and really fast track your progress with me by having those fortnightly one-on-one calls. So every 2-3 weeks, depending on how much you need, we will do a one-on-one call that goes for 45 minutes. That is with me. That's not with anyone else. You also have in between the calls unlimited one-on-one WhatsApp access multiple times per day. So multiple times per day, I'm in the WhatsApp support, chatting to you, helping you with your issues. If you're having a binge urge on a Tuesday, you don't have to wait until the next day to get support from me. I will be in there that day, be able to talk you through it and help you on that day. This is why you will see changes so quick on this program. What I always say is it's 6 weeks to stop binging and then 6 weeks to really cement these habits as the new you and the new version of yourself. No more quick fixes, no more courses or group options where you just get bored and you get left alone and you fall off and you feel like you can't pick it back up again because you've already wasted so much time and you don't know where to start. This is not a quick fix. This is not a program where you just sign up and you're left alone. Like, I'm there to check in on you, to be there for you, to hold you accountable, and to help you overcome binging quicker than you ever thought possible. You will also have weekly group live coaching sessions with the other girls and myself, where you can ask questions, you can join in, you can sit and listen, you can join our workshops that we have. Sometimes we have breathwork facilitators come in, sometimes we have hormone specialists or menopause or all these things, because I like to collaborate to make sure that you get the best out of everything in this program. You also have our exclusive the Empowered Woman group chat where the girls are chatting every single day. You have weekly challenges from me. You have a support group there where you feel like you're not alone, that there's actually other women like yourself that struggle with this, and that you can feel like, oh, I don't have to, I'm not the only one struggling. A lot of us who struggle with binge eating feel like we can't really talk to our friends and family about it because they don't get it. But these women get it because they're on the same journey as you are. We also have 80 plus educational mindset workbooks and videos. And these videos and workbooks are easy, they're short, they take maybe between 5-10 minutes to watch. You can even plug it into your headphones when you're doing your hot girl walk or on the treadmill or in the car even. Because I don't want you to spend hours and hours reading, listening, watching shit. Like, I want you to just watch something, boom, take what you can from it, implement and go. Like, this should not be something that takes up a lot of your time. And in saying that, this probably only takes, well, depending on how much you want to work on, the workbooks and the videos, I'd say 15 minutes a week maximum. Like, it's not a massive thing because you have that one-on-one WhatsApp support. It's so easy to just go, hey, Ellen, this is what I'm struggling with today. And then boom, I can reply. Like, it doesn't take a lot of your time, but the results are incredible. So if you join in the next 24 hours, you are going to save $600. So like I said, this is a premium one-on-one coaching program that is $199 a week. Normally I charge $249 a week for this program because of how much access you get to me. You save $600 if you sign up within the next 24 hours. So what I want for you is I want you to feel strong in the gym, strong in yourself, strong in your mind. It all starts here. Like, I want you as a woman to feel strong, to feel amazing, to feel empowered, to feel like you can do this. You can go to the gym and see results. You can stick to your meal plan with your nutrition coach. You can actually get up on stage if that's what you want to do. But this is not going to happen if you don't invest in yourself. So if you sign up now, you will get this program for only $199 per week. And I know that it is an upfront cost. I know that it's a lot of money, but how much are you currently spending on binging? And I'm not just talking about financially. Yes, financially, you're probably spending around $100, $150 a week, but you're also wasting your life away. You're also feeling guilty for everything you eat. You're also not enjoying your holidays because you're thinking about food all the time. You're stressing about what to eat. If you're a mom, you're probably putting this behavior onto your kids as well because you're spending so much time with your binge eating voice. The binge eating voice becomes your best friend. And is that something that you want for yourself for the rest of your life? Because this program is going to solve that issue. There's even a 12-week end binge eating guarantee. So if you've done the modules, if you've had your calls with me, if you've taken the homework that I've given you, you've done the tasks, and you haven't stopped, I don't want your money. Then I would give it back to you. But that has never happened, and I'm gonna make sure that doesn't happen to you either because I don't I want you to succeed. I don't want you to fail. Like that would be my absolute nightmare. Like I want you to succeed probably more than you want to succeed. So I'm also going to give you another discount that if you pay the 12 weeks up front, I will give you another discount of almost $300. So you will save an additional $288 on top of the $600 you're already saving. Total save $888. So if you pay the whole thing up front, it's only $2,100. $2,100 to be binge free for the rest of your life. Sounds like a no-brainer to me, and I know I wish I had this when I was struggling with binging, so I didn't have to waste 10 years of my life feeling miserable binging, literally eating food from the garbage, gaining weight, never feeling confident in my body, and always looking for the next quick fix. And honestly, if I could take all the money that I've spent on meal plans and other binge eating programs and courses and short things that were cheaper, then I would have spent way more than $2,100. I tell you that. So imagine yourself 12 weeks from now, feeling the happiest you've ever felt. You're confident in your body. You're confident around food. You can go out for dinner with your partner. You can go on that holiday. You can go to the beach. You feel good in a bikini because you're no longer binging. You're no longer putting on binge weight. You're no longer puffy from all the food that you've eaten because you now have control around food. You can actually enjoy this summer knowing that you showed up as your best self because you made that investment in yourself and you know that you were worth it and it was worth every single penny. Like the girls that I coach, they stay with me usually for longer than 12 weeks, not because they're still binging, not because they have to, but because they enjoy the process so much. Once they sign up, they see that, wow, there's so much that's changing for me, not just with my food, but in my relationships, how confident I feel, the opportunities that I'm attracting into my life. And that's what I want for you as well. And you can get there for just $199 a week. And that is, if you do the math for all the binges that you've had, I can guarantee you that that's going to be more than $2,100. So why don't we just take that, put it into yourself, because investing in you is never a money wasted. You are worthy of investing in, and I know that you know that too. Otherwise, you wouldn't still be watching this. However, I know that a lot of people that amount might seem like, you know what, that is just completely unrealistic for me, and I just do not have that in me. So I'm going to give you another discount here. Normal price, I normally charge $38, so this is 50% off. This is my ebook, Binge to Balance. This has amazing methods that I teach my clients. The everything that, or not everything, but a lot of what I have in the Empowered Woman program is in this ebook. It's honestly amazing. It's helped so many women already because it is at a discounted price. And not everyone can afford one-on-one. Not everyone wants a one-on-one coach, and that's okay. So that's why I have this option here as well. And I'm going to leave the link for the ebook below so that you can easily just go to the checkout page and then you'll download it. You can have it on your phone. It's super easy to access, and I've had so much amazing feedback from this as well. So if you feel like, Ellen, I'd love to sign up for the coaching, but I honestly, I can't afford it. Like I literally don't have the money, and I can't get a credit card or a loan, or anyone can borrow the money to me. That's okay. I get it. This is what the ebook is for. So I just wanted to finish off with this beautiful message from my client, Carrie, who felt like like she was someone who was also very hesitant. She tried everything. She wasn't sure she could afford it. She was actually one of those women who stayed longer than 12 weeks because she just enjoyed it so much. But she was someone who's like, Ellen, I just don't know if it's going to work for me. Like I've tried everything. I've worked with a nutrition coach for years. I've tried other binge eating programs and there's just nothing works for me. This is just who I am now. Now she has stopped binge eating. She has, like I said, she's been to therapists in the past, and just in a couple of questions and a couple of calls with me, we were able to pinpoint things that were never addressed. And actually, this is something that changed her life. She doesn't binge anymore. She's actually sticking to the nutrition plan that she's on with a nutrition coach, and she's actually seeing results. So she's losing weight. She feels amazing. She can finally wear crop tops and booty shorts to the gym and actually feel confident in them. And this is what I want for you as well. But thank you so much, everyone who stayed on and watched. We've gone for almost an hour now, but we have 10 minutes. If anyone has any questions, you can either pop it in the group chat or you can unmute yourself. In the chat, there's also a function where you can send it directly to me so I don't see your name. And if you do that, then I will just know that it's an anonymous question. I just won't read out your name. There we go. All right. Does anyone have any questions? How are you all feeling? Does anyone have any questions about the program? Does anyone feel like this might be for me? Obviously, you sign up to the workshop for a reason. You want to stop binge eating. And like I said, this is something that is going to help you. And I would hate for you to miss out on the discount. So if you have any questions about it, please let me know and we can chat about it. Or if you want to book in a call. No questions. Awesome. No problem. You are so welcome. Was there any big takeaways that you guys had from the workshop? I think this is for me. I'm just scared. What if it doesn't work? I don't know how to pronounce your name. Hengame. It's going to work. I can guarantee you that it's going to work. Like I said, I've never had anyone fail, and it sounds like a sales gimmick, but it's actually the truth. I've never had anyone fail, and if you would fail against all odds, I will literally give you your money back. So, like, you deserve this. You signed up to the workshop for a reason. You wanted to break binge eating. Why wait any longer?
I think. Oh, wait, where's my video? I want to say something. There I am. Hi.
There you are. Amazing. How are you?
Thanks. How are you?
Good, thank you.
I think the nervous system stuff is really interesting. Like, oh, just willpower and stuff. But like, I find like it's when I'm stressed or when I'm, not in like a state of regularity or like regulation. If something goes off, then it's like, oh, okay, go to food for that. So like
Mm.
the nervous system. Like, I'm keen to read the like nervous system reset and the other ebook you put in there. I'm keen to read those and just have a deeper understanding of how that works as well. That's cool.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. This is something that I, obviously work one-on-one with all my clients, but this is, when you like you say that I don't want to do this, or I'm gonna stop texting that person, I'm gonna stop eating this food, or I'm gonna go to the gym tomorrow, whatever it is, and then again and again we don't do it. Like this has never has anything to do with our willpower. It's our bodies just don't feel safe for that change. And if our bodies don't feel safe, then how are we meant to make that change? So it all comes down to the nervous system and changing the state of your body so that you then can change the behavior and the outcome of your life. I love that you found that so helpful though. That's really good. And I hope that you loved the ebooks as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
You are so welcome. You're in. Yay! Amazing. I'm so excited. Um, awesome. Well, I is that how do you say your name? Hengame.
Hi. Yeah, it's
Hi.
Hengame. It's right. Yeah,
What was that, sorry?
you're correct. It's Hengame, you're correct.
Hengame, beautiful. Where are you from?
Yeah, thank you. I'm from Iran,
Oh, amazing. Where are you based?
but I'm joining from Melbourne. Yeah,
What was that? Sorry?
I'm joining from Melbourne.
Oh, amazing, Melbourne. Awesome, awesome. Well, I'm really looking forward to getting to know you a bit better, and I'm gonna get off now and set you up straight away. Welcome to the program. So excited for you to break this.
Yeah,
Um,
thank you. I'm really excited too.
Me too, me too. Abby or Andrea, do you guys have any questions or anything that you want to ask before we jump off? No?
No more questions from me. Just thanks heaps for running this, and yeah, I found value in that, and yeah, thanks for like sharing the resources as well. That's really awesome. So yeah, thanks heaps. That's all.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for joining live. This recording, I will send out the recording for you guys, but obviously, people who watch the recording back won't get the bonuses. So yeah, thank you so much for joining, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. If you have any questions about the workshop, please feel free to just message me on Instagram. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Super. Thanks so much.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.